Welcome everyone to the ONVIF add-on and TLS configuration add-on webinar. We hope this session will help you explain and answer your questions you may have about add-ons. My name is Steven Pateo. I'm part of the ONVIF Communication Committee. I will be today's moderator. This webinar is being recorded and will be available for all on the ONVIF website. With us today we have Michael Adam. Michael Adam will be presenting and talking about the add-ons. Michael has been working for several years with ONVIF, and he also contributed to the technical development of the add-ons. Michael works at Pelco by Model Solutions. Hi, Michael. How are you?
Doing well. Happy to be here.
Great. Those we will talk about ONVIF add-on concept and TLS configuration explained. We'll talk about use case and scenarios, also the add-on conformance process, and we will conclude with the Q&A session. So, Michael, yeah, looking forward, I'm excited to learn more about the add-on concept. Can you please share some information on that?
So the add-on concept was introduced in 2021. That's a new concept for ONVIF. When talking about add-ons, we look at kind of features that solve one use case. They're much more smaller in scope. So they're not enough to qualify as a profile. And sometimes these features in a profile can be leveraged by more than one add-on. So you want to share some of these features between multiple add-ons. Features of an add-on cannot be covered in an existing profile. So kind of as an example, ONVIF wouldn't create an audio streaming add-on since it's already covered by Profile T. Specifications for add-ons cannot include optional requirements for clients and devices, nor can they include conditional requirements for devices. This is kind of to help focus what these add-ons are about. We do have the ability to version add-ons in a more kind of dynamic way than profiles. This allows us to have better iteration and be able to adapt to technology quicker with add-ons rather than just profiles. When talking about conformance, devices and clients that want to claim conformance must also pass with an add-on. You cannot just claim conformance for an add-on by itself. You have to do it with a profile. It can be any ONVIF profile, it could be any number of ONVIF profiles. It just has to be at least one profile as part of the conformance process. As we get products that have add-ons, they will be listed on the ONVIF conformant products webpage, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Now let's talk about what the benefits of an add-on. An add-on enables ONVIF conformant devices or clients to claim conformance for additional capabilities outside of profiles. Because add-on features are limited in scope compared with profile feature sets, the development and release of add-on specifications and test tools can potentially be easier and quicker than profiles. So when we talk about this from like a manufacturer perspective, you get these profiles, devices and clients that can claim conformance to additional capabilities outside of profiles. And it also allows for easier and quicker development due to limited feature scope and kind of more focused in efforts and what it's about. For end users, you get flexibility to develop kind of sets of products and things that meet your scenario that you need. You can adapt a project or market to specific scenarios that aren't directly addressed by ONVIF profiles. And because of ONVIF's interoperability, you're able to connect clients and devices in an open environment. When we kind of do the detailed breakdown here of what profiles versus add-ons are, you can see we have this table here. So when you're talking about a profile, it's very comprehensive. It's got a lot going on, and it's enough to allow kind of functional product development on its own. When we kind of talk about version handling, because of how comprehensive ONVIF profiles are, they're not suited for version handling to enable, we want to make sure that it will always work. but an add-on has versioning built in, and we can actually iterate on those quickly. Add-ons and profiles both cover specifications for client and devices. Both client and devices must pass ONVIF conformance for add-ons and profiles. And any ONVIF member can propose new add-ons or profiles, but only full and contributing members can actually develop and work on these add-ons for publication.
Thanks, Michael, for sharing that information. It was interesting to learn more about add-on concept as such, what it is, what the benefits are. I'm pretty curious to find out more about the TLS configuration add-on. Can you say more about that?
Yes. So our first kind of official add-on for ONVIF is called the TLS Configuration Add-on. It was introduced earlier this year, and it specifically focuses on the configuration aspect of encrypted communications using TLS. For those who don't know what TLS stands for, stands for Transport Layer Security. It is kind of a fundamental technology that we use for network and web, both internetwork and well as World Wide Web communications. It encrypts communications to make it more difficult for cyber threats, such as eavesdropping and intrusions to occur, because you kind of end-to-end encryptions, you can have man-in-the-middle attacks. And again, as I mentioned, this is the first add-on, so we're enabling kind of secure communications within the ONVIF ecosystem, especially with physical security products. Why is this needed? As we've seen in the news over the last couple of years, cybersecurity is an increasingly big priority for businesses, as we've seen all of these compromises and stuff occur. This is definitely a key market demand. We wanted at ONVIF to standardize a way to set up communications via TLS. We know this is important for all of these physical security solutions that we do, so thus it's very important to ONVIF that we have a standardized way for all of our manufacturers and integrators to be able to set up and integrate these devices. So what is this TLS configuration add-on? It provides a baseline for encrypted communications between a client and a device that conform with the ONVIF TLS configuration add-on. We want that regardless of brand of a product or VMS, a client will be able to configure a device and update the TLS settings on it within the same add-on.
Thanks, Michael, for sharing that information. So we've learned more about the add-on concept as such, TLS configuration add-on. Now, it would be interesting for us to understand the full picture here. Is there any a possibility for us to explain that a little bit more by talking about some use cases, scenarios?
Yes, definitely. We're talking about preventing. We want to make sure that we're preventing any sort of eavesdropping or stuff occurring. So TLS secures communications between VMS and devices. As an example, we want to make sure that any sort of configuration or authentication credentials are not stolen in flight during the transmission, as well as being able to allow VMS to confirm the identity of clients using certificates. As I mentioned a little bit, when it comes to securing your stuff, we want to make sure that unknown parties cannot observe any sort of video data, encrypting video data as well in flight. We talk about kind of where you would pair this. What scenarios would you use this type of, use the TLS configuration add-on? It's, as we said, you can use an add-on with any mix of profiles. Profile T specifically talks about encryption of video traffic via either using RTP over HTTPS or RTPS. So you can combine the TLS configuration add-on with Profile T to encrypt your video traffic. So Profile T, again, talks about the transmission side of encrypted video, where the TLS configuration add-on allows you to set up that specific bit of certificates to enable the encryption. Profile M discuss metadata transmission, and it talks about how to secure that. It provides specifications on securing the metadata in flight. You can combine the TLS configuration add-on with it to enable seamless setup of those encrypted messages in flight. You can also pair, as I mentioned, you can pair it with any add-on. These are just some examples. Because you can use TLS to encrypt the web pages as well, it also enables pretty much any profile to work with a vendor that has a web-based setup environment, because now you can enable HTTPS and encrypt all traffic for configuration with that camera.
Thanks, Michael, for sharing that information. I see some questions coming in the Q&A session, and maybe I see the opportunity to already start one. Could be pretty interesting. It's related also to integrations with the VMS. So this partner is writing us. He's manufacturing and designing IP lighting for security. So they like to implement ONVIF, but there's not really a suitable profile they could conform to. An add-on, would that help? And could they pick a closest profile and add-on also?
Yes. This could also be an opportunity to get more involved with ONVIF, to start, maybe working on developing, becoming a full or contributing member, and be able to help drive, a new profile development that is specific for your use case. Because when you go to implement a profile, you have to implement all parts of the profile, as all mandatory parts of the profile, and then be able to pass conformance with it. So I don't, depending on the profile you pick, if you can implement everything with it, then yes, you can combine that with an add-on and go. But if a profile doesn't work out for you, and you want to integrate with ONVIF, we'd love to have you join our working groups to be able to contribute a new profile that maybe works specifically for lighting, IP lighting situations and security.
Definitely, that would be interesting. And now moving on to the next topic, I think we wouldn't be on this if we wouldn't care, let's say, for quality output of profiles and also add-ons. So we have this conformance process, not only for the ONVIF profiles, but also for add-on. We have come up with a specific process. So Michael, can you share more information on that?
As Stephen mentioned, the conformance process helps us ensure quality of all the products. And if you know that a product is ONVIF conformance, has submitted conformance, and it's listed on the onvif.org website, you know that you can count on it being able to integrate well with other ONVIF conformant devices. So we've added add-ons to the conformance process for these additional capabilities and functionality. So the kind of we want to, this process helps streamline development processes, since add-ons are, again, more focused in scope. They're not as comprehensive as an ONVIF profile. And then because of the way add-ons work, you can piece them with things. It kind of enables you to have a more customized options and things for your specific requirements. These are easier and quicker to release, again, because of their limited features. And with this versioning thing, we can quickly adapt and revise these add-ons based on market changes and things that our members need. So the conformance process is similar to a profile with a couple differences. So the big difference is you can't do an add-on by itself. It must be with a profile. So you begin your development picking up, going with one or more profiles, and then you can do one or more add-ons as part of that process. Once you complete development, you will need to run the ONVIF client and or device test tools, depending on what you are developing. If you're developing both sides of the equation, be it a device and a client, you'll need to do both. New versions of these test tools are released by ONVIF every June and December, so twice a year. Once you have passed these test tools, they produce a series of documents, the Declaration of Conformance, or DOC, the interface guide and feature list. Those get submitted to ONVIF via the member portal. And then ONVIF will process those and approve and post them to the onvif.org website. After all this, twice a year, or at least once a year, I should say, we have a plugfest hosted at one of our various locations around the world as part of our other meetings. And this allows you to test with other member conformant products, be it clients or devices, depending on what you're developing, and work hand in hand with other developers to quickly resolve issues and troubleshoot right there on the floor. Definitely recommend to attend plugfests. They're for my experiences, we've been there as part of Motorola Solutions. They've been invaluable to solving problems, working right with other vendors to be able to figure out what exactly is going on and be able to work on changes.
Well, we have our next one in June, right? In Krakow, correct? In Poland?
I believe we do. Definitely, check the ONVIF website for more info on that. So if you want to find, if you're an integrator or anyone really, if you want to find a list of add-on conformant products, you can visit the ONVIF website at onvif.org/conformant-products. You can see specific products as well as their firmware software versions to know what versions were submitted at the time, when they declared conformance. The onvif.org website is the only authoritative source for ONVIF conformant products. That is the place where you can only find the information. Anywhere else on the web is not accurate. It's only the onvif.org website. A guide here is when you go to the ONVIF conformant list, you'll see this kind of filter bar at the top. There's a new drop-down for add-ons. You'll pick whatever add-ons you are interested in that drop-down. You can enter it, then any other relevant search fields, and then run the search. And the tool will then list anything that matches those criteria.
Thank you, Michael, for sharing that information. I think we've all gained more knowledge about what add-on concept and TLS configuration add-on is. Then I would suggest before we go and jump to the Q&A session, that maybe we can summarize of the topics we've been talking about. Okay, so add-on concept. So that's the adaptable feature set. It complements existing profiles. It's subject to add-on conformance tests. It's conformant to an ONVIF profile. When we talk about TLS configuration, TLS, it's about encrypting communication and physical security systems. Within ONVIF, we had this need, so to say, on finding a standardized way for a client to be able to configure and update TLS settings on a device. We have it, a TLS configuration add-on, and without surprise, it's also the first ONVIF add-on. Now, when we talk about the benefits, then we can approach it from, let's say, from two angles. From the manufacturer point of view, we would say that it's about quick responsiveness, the way we can react, and also coming up with a flexible feature set. What we can say about the TLS configuration as such is interesting for a manufacturer because it helps enrich the ONVIF conformant product portfolio. Now, when we take a look at the end users and system integrators, we can highlight two benefits there. First of all, also what we mentioned for the manufacturer, flexibility, in this case for specific scenarios, market-driven, industry-driven, technology-driven. And when we have that a solution, you find it within the ONVIF ecosystem. Specific demand is there, it can be responded to. When talking about TLS configuration, of course, TLS, it's about cybersecurity, how we're able, let's say, to reduce those cyber threats. That's definitely a benefit. But what is pretty interesting is that we can go and start thinking of becoming much more efficient as an organization, in the sense that we can have an opportunity, whereas TLS setting can become much more unified. We have those mechanisms so that configurations, updating, the whole process actually would become much more efficient. So let's go now to the Q&A session. So we have here some questions. Let me check some questions here. There's a company also that said, Michael, maybe we can help here. So if we're talking about NVR cameras, would both manufacturers need to support the TLS add-on?
Yes. So the client would need to update to support and detect the presence of the add-on. And as part of the introduction of the first add-on, there is now a new set of responses from the device service endpoint get service capabilities, I believe. that now will list the available add-ons that are supported by the device. So there is a bit of updates that need to happen on both sides in order for proper detection and use of the add-on.
Okay, that's great. So we keep on receiving questions here. If for our viewers, you can still send some questions here. Maybe we jump to the next question. It's about the resources. So for developers, where can they find the information? The docs, the tools, the specs, Michael, where can they find that?
So there's plenty of documentation on the onvif.org website. You can view the all of the service definitions, as well as all of those documentations to understand all the various interfaces that are available as part of all of the WSDLs. We also have, I do believe, some developer guides to get started as a developer. And so all of everything's on the onvif.org website. You can use I think there's the specifications dropdown to be able to find everything to get started.
Okay, that's great. Also, Michael, I think for that question, I also need your expert input. Would the add-on concept allow the removal of some parts of a profile to have easier versioning? Like, for instance, SRTP streaming made into its own add-on to be versioned easily as a cryptographic algorithm requirements change over time?
So yes and no. It really depends on if we want to deprecate an add-on or a profile completely. ONVIF wants to maintain backwards compatibility throughout the life cycle of active profiles. So in order to kind of remove something from a profile, you would also have to deprecate that profile and then generate a new one that doesn't have that part of it. It's definitely doable if that's the need in the market and what our members want, but generally we would not want to kind of take piecemeal items out of a profile unless it was truly necessary. When you're talking about cryptographic algorithms, the kind of latter part of this question, could SRTP streaming be made into its own add-on? It could, if necessary. However, ONVIF doesn't necessarily get into the whole specific types of algorithms or TLS versions or anything like that. We don't kind of mandate the way that the stuff is implemented. We only kind of provide ways for it to be configured and some general, handshaking stuff when it comes to encrypted communications. So the specifications would be written in a way that we would try to avoid the need to revision it every time there's either a new TLS standard or version or like any sort of cryptographic changes.
Okay, great. Then I would say that maybe we conclude with one last question. So you say that TLS add-on allows VMS to confirm identity of a camera using a certificate. This relies on the camera certificate being signed by some authority. Would you expect the VMS itself to sign camera certificates? If an external authority signs it, how does it help identify the camera?
So in that case, yes, you would need to, the VMS would need to provide some sort of way of authenticating certificates. The add-on itself doesn't necessarily go into how a VMS would do that on a kind of a technical level, but there are some VMSs out there that do act as their own certificate authority. Could even be an external configuration tool that will act as a certificate authority that will then deploy and manage certificates dynamically for a fleet of cameras that are deployed at that install. As you note, if there's an external authority that signs it, it doesn't necessarily help identify unless you have other client-based certificates that can do that.
Okay, great. Michael, thanks a lot for the information you have been providing to us today. Our time is up, and we're also very glad so many people from all around the world had the opportunity to join us today. If you'd like to find out more about ONVIF, about the profiles and the add-ons, please don't hesitate to go to our website, onvif.org. You may sign up also to our quarterly e-news. You can find that in the contact menu on our website. or if you'd like to send us or contact us while some questions remain unanswered, don't hesitate to contact us at onvif.org. Thank you for the participation. I wish you a great day, a great evening. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.